Virginia and Tony Elliott looking to improve off a season ago as we are underway. Go out of the back of the end zone for the touchback. So, who will it be coming out onto the field and under center for the first time? It appears that it will be our guy Kyle Wickersham, who led the nation in completion percentage a season ago at 73%. Remarkable. He started the first 3 games and then the last 4 games of the year, but dealing with injuries, that's been a problem for him. Jamal Brown joins him in the backfield on the first play from scrimmage and takes the quick handoff. And that Virginia defense swarming after a gain of maybe a half yard.
And this is what I expect throughout the early part of this ball game. Richmond wants to establish the run game. They want to speed the clock up, speed the game up. They want to try to keep this Virginia offense off the field. Richmond with a solid run game led by Jamal Brown. We'll also see Zach Palmer-Smith. They want to run the ball with Wickersham as well. 400 yards rushing last season, and just as we said, he gets the call, but Virginia sniffs it out with James Jackson, the weak side linebacker, the tackle for loss, and it'll be 3rd down and long coming up. And if you see Jackson, he does a good job. He's uber aggressive coming downhill, and he finds a seam and gets to Wickersham before he can plant his foot and get north and south. That's what you want to do when they're trying to run these stretch plays to get to the edge.
3rd downs last season, 30% completion rate for Richmond, conversion rate rather. Wickersham, time and connects, but shy of the first down out at the 34-yard line. Catch was made for the Spiders by the tight end Matt Rober, but it will be 4th down and they'll punt it away.
And that was a good job by Wickersham. They dropped 7 in the coverage. They rushed 4. The offensive line did a good job. Wickersham, I like the way he stayed in the pocket. He trusted his offensive lineman. He was able to get the ball down the field. The receiver cut the route just a bit short. You got to get to the sticks and give your quarterback a bigger target.
Aaron Trussler averaged 42 yards per punt last season. High snap, but he pulls it down. Side-winding kick. Antonio Clary back in the lineup after missing all of 2023. And there was a quarterback controversy and battle throughout camp here in Charlottesville between Anthony Calandria and Tony Muskett. About a week ago, Tony Elliott said he is going with Calandria, the sophomore from St. Petersburg, Florida, a guy who can extend plays. The biggest thing was don't make the mistakes, don't force it when the routine play is there.
And I love his moxie. That's what you see with this kid, a lot of moxie. And as an offensive lineman, you want to block for someone like that.
They'll run the quarterback draw on 1st down. Gets to the outside. Calandria off to the races near sideline and out of bounds at the 41-yard line of Richmond. That'll go for 35 yards.
And this is a quarterback design draw. Calandria does a good job of following his blockers. And what I like about it, Sackett Wood, number 44, he waited for his quarterback to get there to lead the convoy down the field. And Calandria did a smart thing. He got out of bounds. Don't take any unnecessary contact.
Calandria last season rushed for 225 yards in his 6 games of play. It's basically a split season because of injuries. Muskett was the starting quarterback at the beginning of the year, but he was banged up early and then banged up again late as Kobe Pace gets his first call of the season off tackle, and Carter Glassmeyer, transfer from St. Francis out of the NEC, comes up to make the stop.
And good push at the point of attack by the offensive linemen. They're firing out with flat backs, getting up the field. They've got a 45-pound weight advantage across the board on average, so they should be able to get pushed at the point of contact.
Chris Tyree, transfer from Notre Dame, lining up in a slot on the left side. 2nd down and 3. Calandria to throw, taking a shot, downfield, into the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown. Trell Harris, the other transfer from Kent State. They have been high on him throughout camp, and Harris makes a big play as Virginia strikes early.
And when you look at this throw, this is a professional throw. He threw the ball before the receiver got to the top of his route. That's trusting your receiver. He stayed in the pocket. He had pressure, but he was able to get the ball down the field and give your receiver an opportunity to make a play for you, and that is what Trail Harris did. But I like the way he released that football before Trail Harris got it to the top of his route. Did not allow the defender to turn around and try and make a play.
35-yard touchdown as Will Bettridge adds the point after, and Virginia coming out throwing and making an early statement with Anthony Calandri at quarterback. Russ Huseman and his Richmond Spiders hit with an early haymaker from Virginia, 35-yard touchdown pass to Trell Harris from Anthony Calandria. But this is a team that is used to fighting through it. Last season started 2-3, rattled off 7 consecutive wins, Forrest, to get to the FCS playoff and eventually lose in the second round.
Well, that's what they talked about, playing with their backs against the wall. They want to have that mentality, the same mentality that allowed them to go on that run to get to the playoffs. That's what Coach Huseman talked about, having that mentality throughout the season. They don't want to get to the point where they have to win. They want to feel like they have to win and play like that.
Second consecutive touchback from Daniel Sparks. So here comes the Richmond offense for the second time. They go 3 and out on their first series. And it did indicate to us last week when we talked to Rex Huseman and their offensive coordinator Winston October that maybe, just maybe, they'd consider playing both quarterbacks tonight, both Wickersham and Camden Coleman, but Wickersham we would expect to see for the most part tonight. Aziz Foster Powell checking in at running back. He'll get the call on the sweep right. Cut back to the 30-yard line as Clary, the safety, came up to make the stop, but not before a gain of 5.
And a good job on the edge, getting pushed up the field. That's what you want to do. Get in front of these defenders. Allow your backs to be dynamic and cut off of you. You don't have to get a knockout block. Just get to your point of attack and allow your back to find the seam.
There's Foster Campbell in the backfield now. Flushed out. Wickersham going to pull it down. He's got the corner and knocked out of bounds late. Will it draw a penalty? No yellow yet as Cam Butler shoved him out. They do pick up the first down as Wickersham getting it done with his legs.
And a great job by number 38, Aziz Foster Powell, blocking on the outside, not allowing the Virginia defender to keep the edge. You saw the safety trying to get up, to get on top of the quarterback. You didn't allow him to get up the field.
They'll go a little up-tempo here, and they'll change up the tempos as Foster Powell gets the call, but a gain of only 1 as Jonas Sanker, probably the best safety in the ACC, comes up to make the stop. A preseason All-American from many media outlets. This guy loves to come up and hit.
And the thing about Sanker, he's a former quarterback, so he understands route concepts. He understands how to read formations, and I think that is what makes him so effective on the back end of that defense.
Jamal Brown checks back in. Richmond with a second down and 9, and Wickersham take a shot again against the 4-man rush, and nobody home. Over the middle, intended for Garcia. Sanker there on the coverage.
One of the things, Chris, that's standing out to me early is Virginia's inability to get pressure on Wickersham when he drops back to pass the football. They're only rushing 4 pass rushes. What they did that time, they went with the zone blitz. They dropped the defensive tackle, brought one of their linebackers on a delayed blitz, but they have still not been able to get pressure on the quarterback. So it's a good job early in pass protection by this Richmond ball club.
Winston October has been thrilled through camp with his team's recall as the play clock goes down to 5 on this 3rd and 9, and a timeout called by Russ Huseman and Richmond as that play clock was coming down near 0. So a big 3rd down coming up for Richmond to try to extend their drive, down 7-0 early in Charlottesville. For Russ Huseman, Spiders last season, it was an uphill battle to get to back-to-back playoffs, but a turning point, beating Maine. They started 2-3, and Richmond trailed Maine 14-0 with Camden Coleman, a rookie quarterback. But this play, this flea flicker to Brooks Haggerty for a 65-yard touchdown pass, Spiders went on to win 42-31, went on to 7 straight wins. Coach Huseman pointed to that play as really the turning point. Our guys all of a sudden, off this trick play on our 4th quarterback, they believed, and it really paid off. Here is a 3rd and 9 for Wickersham on the bubble screen. It'll be close, but the ball is out. It was close to a 1st down, but it appears that Virginia has forced the turnover as Cam Robinson recovers the fumble for the Cavaliers. Their first forced turnover of the season, as the normally sure-handed Nick DeGennaro coughed up the football.
And you see what Cam Robinson did? He came in at the end of that play, and he was able to punch that out. Was that Corey Thomas? It might have been. Oh, that was Cam. That was Corey Thomas that came in at the back of the play and punched it out. And for Nick DeGennaro, you've got to hold that ball high and tight because you know pursuit is coming from the backside.
So Virginia took only 3 plays to score on their first series. It's excellent field position here, and the ball dropped out of the backfield for Chris Tyree, the transfer from Notre Dame. Right off his hands. He is an explosive player who has 82 catches in his career and somebody that can line up everywhere. He was actually a running back his first couple of years for the Fighting Irish before they moved him to receiver last season. Kobe Pace remains in the backfield along with Anthony Calandria. Quick throw out left. It's Malachi Fields breaking down the sideline and cutting back inside for another big gainer for the Virginia offense. He was overlooked a bit a season ago in the shadow of Malik Washington, who had 110 catches for Virginia, but Malachi Fields delivering for 32 yards.
And a good job by the offensive line to sell the run. What that did was freeze the safety, so once he got past that defender on the outside, there was no one there to make the tackle.
Knocking on the door of the red zone. You fake it to Pace. Here's Calandria. This is such a dangerous part of his game and the big reason why he won that quarterback battle with Tony Muskett in training camp. And he's also a guy that's a little bit fiery. You're going to see him a couple of times tonight as he picks up 9 there, where he wants to get hit. As you pointed out earlier, we were chatting off the air. He's somebody that likes getting hit.
And as an offensive lineman, you kind of love that about your quarterback. It gets you fired up a little bit.
On 2nd and 1. Quick throw. It's Fields again. We'll get the first down to the 10. A gain of 3. Trell Harris on the reception, excuse me. And the Who's knocking on the door as we approach the midway point here in the first quarter. It has been all Virginia so far, forcing a turnover just moments ago and a 3-and-out on Richmond's first series. And now, after a long touchdown pass earlier, another opportunity at the 11. Pace the call. Looking, takes it to the 6. Jabril Hayes, one of the captains, preseason All-CAA, made the stop, but not before Pace got 5.
And a good job. Once again, you see offensive linemen getting to the 2nd and 3rd level, covering up bodies. They don't have to get knockout blocks. Of course, you would love to get a knockout block. That's great in film session, but you just want to get up to that 2nd level, cover up those linebackers, not allow them free reign to get downhill to the ball carrier.
Pace again. Churning those legs forward to get a couple as Carter Glassmeyer, the middle linebacker, has got a tough job in replacing a 5-time All-American and Tristan Wheeler. He does pick up 3 there. And one thing that we heard from the Virginia coaches yesterday is that he, in Pace, had made a big jump this season, and you're seeing the weight room kind of translate. You saw it on that tough run.
Yeah, that was grown man business when they met in the hole on that play.
They can get a first down right at the 1. Under center for the first time. Calandria. Man in his face, and the ball got tipped just a bit as it was intended for Sackett Wood, the 3rd tight end. So they will send out the field goal unit.
Good job by the defender on the outside. Jump if you can't get to the quarterback. Get up and try and knock the ball down. Change the trajectory of that football. Do whatever you can to try to disrupt the play.
So Will Bettridge on for a field goal attempt. This will be 22 yards, just inside the right hash on the angle. Officially from 21. Knocks it through to give Virginia a 10-0 lead. Cavaliers have taken control thus far through the first 8+ minutes of this game. Two drives, 2 scores for the Virginia Cavaliers. They forced a turnover already and a 3-and-out. Everything starting out very well for the Hoos here in the opener in Charlottesville against Richmond out of the FCS. Sparks puts it in the air, and once again, it'll be a touchback near the back of the end zone as Tony Elliott's in year 3 here in Charlottesville. And as far as expectations, in the 17-team ACC, they're picked near the bottom. And he made a point of that at the beginning of camp, letting guys know. But he's not somebody that's going to just continue to put that out there and force a chip on their shoulder. But you can sense that this is a team that clearly feels like they have some people to prove wrong.
Well, what Coach Elliott talked about is he wants his team to get to the point like they were when he was at Clemson, where they expect to win every football game that they play.
There's Kyle Wickersham. Nothing downfield. He'll take off again. Lost his helmet. Looked like for a moment he might lose the ball as Carter Glassmeyer and middle linebacker Cam Robinson made the stop.
And what I like about the play, Wickersham kept his eyes down the field. He was still looking to go somewhere with the football, but Virginia did a good job of covering that up. They did not get fooled by the play fake, and Wickersham was very smart to keep the football and try to get down the field and get as many yards as possible.
Well, he has to come off the field for one play since he lost his helmet, so Ashton Snellsire, redshirt sophomore, comes in and hands it off to Jamal Brown, who picks up a couple. And it'll be close to a first down, but just shy as Wickersham comes back in. Kyle Wickersham in the first round of the playoffs last year. The FCS, 3 touchdown passes. Terrific run. On third down so far, Richmond 0 for 2. Wickersham hands it off. Virginia, nothing doing. This week, Winston October, the offensive coordinator for Richmond, pointed out that is a team that loves to swarm the football, and we have seen that quite a bit so far. James Jackson leading the way that time for Virginia.
And the Virginia defensive line is doing a good job of controlling the line of scrimmage when Richmond tries to run the football. I think they've had one positive rushing attempt as far as trying to run the football and establish that run.
Left their defense out there just in case, as they will punt it away for the first time with Aaron Trussler. Fielded back at the 20 by Antonio Clary, and not much on the return. Well, for Virginia, Malik Washington had an unbelievable season last year. 110 receptions, led FBS, and he ended up as a 6th-round pick for the Miami Dolphins. Made the team as of last week. You see the numbers, they are incredible across the board. But this is a group that they're not looking to directly replace that kind of production, but with Chris Tyree, Malachi Fields, Trell Harris, they feel like they are getting better and better at the position and deeper, as we'll see some younger guys as well tonight. Here's Calandria with a quick throw to one of those younger guys, Eli Wood, getting an opportunity. He is the brother of the tight end Sackett Wood, who we saw moments ago. He picks up 4 on his first catch of the year.
And Richmond's going to have to make a decision on passing downs. They're going to have to bring more pressure. Right now, they're not getting pressure with the defensive line.
Pace, cutting back, breaking tackles, sidestepping them. Has the first down and more to the 38-yard line. Trey Tomlinson finally came up and made the stop, but not before he picked up 11.
And you see that weight room transitioning to the field once again. Pace breaking tackles, spinning off of would-be tacklers, getting up the field.
Quick throw. Eli Wood once again. 4 more. Safety Parker took him down. Bryson Parker. This Virginia offense so far running like a well-oiled machine. They have 141 yards of total offense already. Calandria going to pull it down to the outside and hops out of bounds.
And Chris, you're talking about a well-oiled machine. If you look at every offensive play, the only play they did not get positive yards was the play that should have been a touchdown, but the defender was able to jump up and tip it at the last minute and change where the ball was going. But when you look at this offense, they are clicking on all cylinders right now. Whatever they want to do, they've been successful, whether it be the quarterback running the football, getting the ball down the field vertically, or getting the ball out in the flat to your playmakers to be able to make plays in space.
Jack Greasy in the backfield at running back, the grandson of the legendary Bob Greasy. Calandria, quick pressure. On the wheel route, he's got Greasy down the sideline. He's gone. Touchdown, Cavaliers. 57 yards. Virginia pouring it on early here in the first quarter.
And watch what Calandria does. Because he's been running the ball so effectively, when he steps up, what that does is that pulls the defenders. You saw Matthew Traynor, the safety, the strong safety, react to Calandria, acting as if he's getting ready to run the football. Once he did that, Calandria was able to find Greasy streaking down the sideline, and the rest was up to Greasy to outrun the defenders to get to the end zone.
Will Bettridge converts on the point after, and Jack Greasy, as was described yesterday to us by Des Kitchings, the offensive coordinator, he might be a guy that might be out there with 3 braces, 2 wraps, might be wearing it all, but you know he's going to be out there and you know he's going to make the play, but not necessarily with the speed in the open field.
Well, you saw his ability. I mean, he comes from great DNA. I mean, come on, man. The name alone makes you wonder, okay, this guy's got to be a player. And that was a great, and like I said before, what I liked about the play is Calandria, He's been running the ball effectively, and the defense has to react to that. And Greasy did a good job of breaking the tackle, showing the speed on the outside. Some of the coaching staff didn't talk about a lot of speed. They talked about his toughness, but you saw the speed to get to the end zone on that touchdown.
Virginia dominating in every single way. Only 46 yards of total offense for Richmond so far, compared to 206 for the Cavaliers. How about Calandria so far? 6 out of 8, 136 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And also, by the way, 44 yards on 3 carries. On 1 bounce, it'll be Jerry Garcia to bring it out. Does not cross the 20. Fine open field tackle made by Trey McDonald, the reserve linebacker.
And if you go back to that last drive, you have to wonder now, should have Richmond possibly gone for it on that 4th and short? I mean, you've got to take some chances in a football game like this. You know, you can't play a traditional game right now. You've got a big boy team across the field from you, and they're trying to put you out really quick. So you have to look at plays like that and see if there's an opportunity moving forward where they take a chance.
Here's Aziz Foster Powell on the toss sweep. Except 3. Well, Richmond has got to figure this out pretty quickly on offense, because right now they don't seem to have any answers, going 3 and out twice against this Virginia defense and then turning it over once. Foster Powell remains in a tailback. Wickersham wanted the quick throw and then just turns and throws it away down the sideline with pressure in his face from James Jackson. Virginia's been everywhere so far.
And now you're starting to see this Virginia defense get pressure off the edge with their edge rushers. Something the Richmond Ball Club talked about, being able to block on the outside, allowing their quarterback the time that he needs to get down the field and find his receivers.
This is a defense that felt like they regressed a little bit last year in year 2 after they had a pretty good year 1. And clearly has had a chip on the shoulder, but a lot of experience. That throw falls incomplete with Sanker right there on Javion Griffin, and it was behind him. Wickersham didn't give him much of a chance with 1:48 left in the opening quarter.
And he was behind the sticks, so even if he would have gotten possession of that football, he would not have gotten the first down. I think Wickersham is starting to rush a little bit. I thought the offensive line did a good job. Once again, the tackles need to do a better job on the outside. They're starting to give a little bit with the width of the pocket. They need to do a better job of keeping their shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, not allowing a short corner for these defensive ends and these pass rushers and edge rushers on the outside.
Daniel Sparks to punt for the 2nd time. Chris Tyree going to let it bounce, and it will take that Richmond bounce inside the 30-yard line. It's college football, but everybody right now trying to find a place to be. And Calandria going down for the first time tonight. The pressure applied by Jeremiah Grant, 3rd team All-CAA a year ago. For the 2nd time, a loss of 9.
And the offensive tackle, once again, you've got to do a better job. You've got to get out there. Now, on that play, the guard got out to try to block, but once again, you've got to have a wide base. You can't go out there with your feet together when you've got a pass rusher coming up the field. You saw on that play he was able to bull rush it into Calandria. You've got to get a wide base and be able to sit down on that defender.
So all of a sudden, for the first time tonight, Virginia behind the sticks. Calandria with the screen for Pace. He's got blockers and running room, and what do you know? In the open field, down the far sideline. Pace knocked out of bounds. Finally by Bryson Parker. But everything is coming up. Cavalier 52 yards on the dump-off screen.
perfect play call. The offensive lineman did a good job of selling, and then you see them get up the field and give him a convoy. But when you've got a defense that's trying to make a big play, they got the big play on the sack, so you know they're going to come upfield again in a must-pass, in a passing situation. Great play call by Coach Elliott and his staff.
How about Cedarian Harrison out there helping spree for an extra 15, 20 yards. First call, and already 12 more coming for Xavier Brown. Carter Glassmeyer prevented the touchdown, but man, this is like practice so far. This is Xavier Brown with the call. Slides through a nice hole on the right side. Carter Glassmeyer there again, but 6 more on the ground as Virginia is doing it in every way possible already. 77 yards rushing.
And patient running by Brown, he allowed the hole to develop, and once he saw the seam, he was able to get up the field.
That's the tight end, Sackett Wood, who motioned to the near side. Calandria to Wood, to the 10, bouncing off tackles. There has probably been about 5 or 6 broken tackles by the Virginia offense already in this game. Jeremiah Grant finally got him to the ground. Gain of 7. And another Virginia first down. It's 1st and goal at the 7.
And Calandra's doing a good job of spreading the ball around. I think that's the 5th receiver that has a reception already in this ball game.
Calandria lines up as Pace returns in the backfield. All kinds of time as now he's flushed out. Athleticism costs him there as he tries to get away, but Matei Fitz tracked him down, and that's the kind of play that Virginia's offensive minds were worried about when they talked about Anthony Calandria in the offseason, not trying to make that big play.
What coaches always tell quarterbacks is if the play is not there as it is drawn up, throw it away. Sometimes you have to just throw the ball away. You saw a little bit of youth on that play. As you said, Chris, the thing that the coaching staff was worried about with Calandria, that they thought they had moved past.
A loss of 20. They'll pull it down and run, and gets stuck to the ground by Wayne Galloway. Stuck his helmet in and drilled him, and it's 3rd down and goal from the 27.
And I love the way Galloway just deciphered what Calandria was going to do. It's almost like he was shadowing him on that play, spying him. He got around the defender and was able to put a hat on the hat, something you want to do when the quarterback decides to run. You want to get a hat on the hat. He was able to get around his defensive teammate and get a hat on the hat on Calandria.
Calandria taking a shot left, open on the near side is Fields, who makes the catch, but obviously needed to get into the end zone for the first down, so he cuts down on the yardage as he picks up 12 to make it a little bit of an easier field goal attempt here for Will Bettridge. But Bettridge already converted from 21 yards in his career, 25 out of 31. On the Luke Rosa watch list as the top kicker in the country. This will be from just outside 33, left hash. Everything coming up Cavalier. 33 yards for Bettridge. Virginia off to a 20-0 lead over FCS Richmond. Far they have been lighting it up. They're just over the first quarter. Anthony Calandria going right after it early to Trell Harris. They have scored on every drive so far and even forced a turnover.
And I don't think Coach Elliott and his staff could have had a better start to this ball game when you look at the way that Calandria spread the ball around, and they've had playmakers all over the field, whether it's been the tight end, whether it's been the running backs, whether it's been the receivers, whether it's been the quarterbacks. Everybody has contributed to this offensive explosion that we've seen from this Virginia ball club so far.
Another touchback for Daniel Sparks. And meanwhile, the fans here at Scott Stadium have been told to seek shelter because there is severe weather in the area, but the game is not being delayed as of now, obviously. But we'll keep an eye on that situation. Hopefully the mountains nearby are able to break it up a little bit. Right outside Charlottesville. Some of the fans not necessarily taking heed. Richmond, meanwhile, trying to find some way to get their offense going. It has been dismal so far. This is the first big play of the day as they pick up a good chunk of yardage with Zach Palmer-Smith in there running back for the first time. He's got 18 yards, and Richmond finally has something going.
And if you look, they've got push at the point of attack by the Richmond Ball Club. A good job by the left side of that offensive line, getting push on that 3 technique.
Quarterback draw for Wickersham, straight up the middle. And he'll have nearly 6 more as Cam Butler took him down. They'll give him a 7th on the spot. So they get it near midfield. I was going to say a delay might not be the worst thing in the world for Richmond considering how things have gone so far, but right now, seemingly starting to get it going.
And I don't think they want to delay right now. They finally got something going offensively.
There's Palmer-Smith twisted down at the 50.
And I don't like that play right there, Chris. You're getting pushed right in the center of that offensive line. Why would you try to get to the edge? If it's not broke, don't try to fix it. You're finally getting positive yards, and then you go away from that and try to get to the edge. Keep getting pushed in the middle of that defense. Make them change what they're doing. Make them bring more people to the box. Then you'll give Wickersham an opportunity to go down the field because he'll have one-on-one coverage on the outside.
Richmond 0 for 4 on 3rd downs. Wickersham just 2 of 8 so far on this 3rd and 4. Quick throw, creating space in the outside. And a first down for Richmond on the catch for Jerry Garcia.
It's interesting. I wonder if he's short on this. It looked like he stepped out of bounds. Yeah, his foot slid out of bounds. But if I'm Richmond, you got to go for this. It's not even a question. Yeah, it's not a question at this point. And run the ball in the middle of that offensive line. Challenge your offensive lineman. They need to get down in the 4-point stance. You want the low man wins. Uproot those guys.
You asked Winston October the other day who he's running behind when he needs a yard, and he said the center, Tom Elia, and the left guard, Keith Gouveia, and that's exactly what he did to pick up that first down.
And when you've got a quarterback that's 6'3", 225 pounds, he's going to fall forward. A good job by Wickersham seeing where he could get those positive yards. You see him shift and get right behind that guard, almost as he got between the guard and the center, the guard and the tackle, because he saw the seam there. Good job by the offensive line and a better job by Wickersham to find where the seam was to get the first down.
Out of the pistol. Palmer-Smith exploding to the outside of the 40 for Antonio Clary. Took him down, but he does pick up 6.
And I've been impressed with the Richmond offensive line on this drive. They're getting pushed at the point of attack. They're doing a good job of staying and getting good fits. You've got to get a good fit to try and get those guys moving backwards. Once again, you want to continue to get that push and make Virginia make a decision and bring more players down to the box.
Richmond came into the game ranked 12th in the preseason coaches poll. In the FCS, once again, it's Palmer-Smith picking up positive yardage as Jam Jackson makes the stop, but not before he picks up 6 more in the first down. And this is a case you're riding that hot hand with Palmer-Smith at 205 pounds, the junior transfer from Wagner.
And number 25, Terrell Jones, you've got to make that tackle. You can't whiff on that. You had an opportunity to have a tackle for a loss in that play. You've got to make that tackle.
Jamal Brown back in the backfield. Wickersham wants the snap. Little flea flicker. He loses it. Tries to pick it up and fire, and it's out of bounds. Maybe he was looking for the same spark that he got last year against Maine. But that time, it was sniffed out pretty well by the Virginia defense.
And if Wickersham would not have panicked, I know he dropped the football. If he doesn't panic, he has Jamal Brown on almost, it looks like a wheel route but nobody covered Jamal Brown. You'll see him in the screen right there, number 7. Nobody covered him. He just panicked a little bit, and I get it because he's trying to get possession of the football and get it out of there, but don't panic.
Another quarterback draw for Wickersham on the 9th play of the drive inside the 30. 6 more as Jonas Sanker comes up to make the stop with Jackson.
And they're gashing this Virginia defense once again right in the middle of that defense, where you've got the 2 guards in the center. They're getting great push on those 3 techniques and those 1 techniques, especially when those 3 techniques are squeezing down. They're getting a body on a body, and the running game is getting what they want to get right now in the middle of that defense for Richmond.
They have not converted a first down in 5 tries tonight. Wickersham with time. Now he'll take off, take on the defender, and lost the ball, but Richmond right there to fall back on top of it. The left tackle, Gabriel Carbajal, there to recover. But you got to figure Richmond, another 4th and short, is going to go for it again.
Absolutely. You see, once again, the quarterback running the football effectively, but you've got to hold that ball high and tight. You've got to be ready to take on the contact. You've got to squeeze that football close to your body.
Cam Butler popped it free with that helmet shot right on the football. Over 6 minutes left here in the half. 4th down and 2. Converted on 4th and 1 moments ago on a quarterback sneak. Wickersham looking, quick throw. It's caught and converted. Nick DeGennaro, the big play receiver, taken down by James Jackson. First time tonight. DeGennaro able to hold on to the ball after a catch, and he picks up the first down.
Well, you saw what they did. Because they've been effective running the football, Virginia brought the blitz. DeGennaro had man coverage on the outside. He went with the slant route. He had the receiver in trail motion. Good job by Wickersham leading him with the football.
12th play of this drive coming up. First down just outside the 10. So Richmond, for the first time tonight, putting something together. Wickersham on the RPO, dumps it and completes it. It's Brown out of the backfield and down at the 5-yard line, a pickup of 6.
And that's one of those plays that Winston October, the offensive coordinator, is biting his tongue on right now, because if Wickersham leads the receiver, he's walking into the end zone on that play. He had to reach back behind himself to get possession of the football. Don't put a whole lot on it. Just loft it out there and allow him to run under the football. Nobody was in front of him.
2nd and 4. His penetration of the game for Richmond. Up until this point offensively, it really come up empty. The draw. Wickersham in for the easy touchdown. And Richmond is on the board. First rushing touchdown of the year for Wickersham, who had 4 a season ago. And the Spiders capitalize on a lengthy drive, 13 plays and 75 yards that ate up nearly 7 minutes.
And Richmond has found something against this Virginia defense, and you saw it throughout this drive. They attacked the right side of that defensive line.
Brandon Peskin for the Richmond point after. Right down the middle. So signs of life from the Spiders. Little brother in the state of Virginia was hoping to come in and deliver a message. It had been Virginia throughout the course of the first half up until this lengthy drive to get on the board.
The new 12-team college
us and waited with us throughout the evening, you're about to be rewarded. A 2-hour and 15-minute-ish weather delay, and we are back in action in moments. Virginia with a 20-7 lead, and they came out hot. Early, that's Trell Harris on the third play of the game with a long touchdown reception. The defense forcing turnovers, big hits by Corey Thomas, and then field goal gets them to a 10-0 lead. Then Jack Greasy with a 57-yard reception and run on a wheel route. The Cavaliers were absolutely rolling at that point. Defense playing very well, and then they add another field goal to get to that 20-0 lead that came from Will Bettridge. But finally, Richmond started to get something going. Their quarterback, Mr. Wickersham, Kyle Wickersham, with the touchdown run of 5 yards to get them on the board right before the weather came. And it got ugly for a good period of time. As we said, about 2 hours and 15 minutes on the weather delay. The field was absolutely soaked. There was lightning in the area, but it is all cleared. Both teams have come out warmed up, and we are ready to resume football. Chris Carlin alongside former Florida State offensive lineman Forrest Connolly here in Charlottesville. The Cavaliers are about to get the football. The game was suspended right after that Kyle Wickersham touchdown. And now we will see the Cavaliers see if they can respond. Forrest, first of all, you have a weather delay like that. You have Richmond, who finally got something going offensively, and then you're going into a 2-hour break. How much does that affect each team? Does any team either benefit from it?
I think there's some positive effects and some negative effects. I think for Richmond, the positive is they can look at what they did on that last drive to score and how they were successful and try and incorporate that as the game plan moving forward. But for Virginia, they went into the locker room looking at what they weren't doing that last drive and what Richmond saw, what weakness Richmond saw, which allowed them to exploit them on that last drive. And I'm sure those iPads were out and they were going through those things and looking and plotting and game planning. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when Richmond gets the ball back.
Well, here, Richmond kicks off, and it's Xavier Brown who fumbled it and is going to bring it back out across the 25 to the 30 to the far side, and he will get run out of bounds near midfield. Excellent field position as Jabril Hayes prevents that from going any longer than a 35-yard return. So Anthony Calandria and the Cavalier offense comes back out, and can't be any better than that. 4 possessions, 4 scores, 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. Calandria off to a good start, 9 of 11, 207 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Now, does Calandria stay hot? That's one of the things that we'll see early right now on this drive. Does he stay hot? Do the things that they were doing early continue to work?
Kobe Pace in the backfield will take the handoff on the stretch play on the first play from scrimmage after this 2-hour delay. A gain of only about 1 as Jeremiah Grant, the defensive end, came up and made the stop. Now, you'll notice we've got about 4.5 minutes left in the first half. So what does that mean for halftime? It's going to be very short, only about 3 minutes worth after that lengthy delay. Both teams in the locker rooms for as long as they were. A lot of the fans departed after the shelter-in-place order, the fine shelter order, I should say, is Pace off to the races again, inside the 20, and Pace shoved out of bounds, and it's going to be first down and goal once again for Virginia, picking up offensively where they left off, and again it's Hayes that prevents the touchdown.
And once again, you see the guards able to climb up to the second-level defenders. You saw receivers able to get on top of those safeties and give Pace the lane that he needed to get up the field.
Virginia playing some tempo on offense. Pace running into a blocker, finding his way down to the 3-yard line. Gain of 7 for Pace, who's off to a good start. He had a long reception in the first half that went for 52 yards, and he's got 7 carries for 75 yards tonight. Total offense so far, Virginia already over 300 yards. 314 to be exact. Second and goal at the 3. Pace off tackle to the goal line and in for the touchdown. Pace with a 3-yard touchdown run, and Virginia is just having their way offensively tonight.
Well, it goes with game planning. We saw early in this ball game, Virginia was able to do whatever they wanted to do. They made a couple of adjustments at halftime, which I expect from both ball clubs, and they just drove all the way down the field. The first play was a negative play, but outside of that, they were able to get any and everything that they wanted. Pace is just finding lanes to run through. He's picking wherever he wants to go because he has 2 or 3 options with the way Virginia's firing off the football and getting the hat on the hat.
Point after for Will Bettridge is good to make it a 27-7 lead as Virginia once again regains that 20-point lead. Well, Richmond coming into this game had not named their starting quarterback. They had a battle throughout camp between Camden Coleman, the sophomore from North Carolina, and Kyle Wickersham, the redshirt junior from Monterey, Louisiana. And you see what the numbers were a season ago. Richmond made the FCS playoffs for the 2nd consecutive year despite having to play 4 different quarterbacks throughout the course of the season. But these two battled it out throughout training camp, and Wickersham ends up being the guy. We saw some of what we saw last year from Kyle Wickersham on that last drive of the first half, or rather right before the weather delay. We'll see if he can pick it back up where he left off.
Well, Wickersham was doing a good job with the quarterback draws. He's doing a good job of keeping his eyes down the field as he's coming towards the line of scrimmage, influencing those safeties to have to react, and then he's getting the ball to his playmakers. I think he needs to continue to look to get the ball to playmakers in space. The field is wet, so it's going to be some running lanes. It's going to be an opportunity for them to continue to run the ball effectively. The offensive line has to continue to fire off. The one thing that we saw prior to the weather delay was they found something on the left side of their offensive line, the right side of the defensive line for Virginia. What kind of adjustments did Virginia make during the weather delay to slow that down? That's the big question I have right now with Richmond with the football.
It'll be Wickersham and Jamal Brown in the backfield on first down. Brown the call, bouncing outside. Antonio Clary comes up and shuts him down after a gain of 2. Corey Thomas there as well.
And good penetration by the Virginia defensive line, forcing Brown to try and bounce it outside, and Pursuit was able to get to him. That's what you want to do. You want to force the back to keep bouncing, trying to find an edge to get north and south, and allow that pursuit to come from the backside. Wickersham
so far tonight, 5 out of 9. 45 yards, make it 6 of 10 on the quick completion to Nick DeGennaro, and that's the guy they have to get more involved. Jam Jackson made the stop, but DeGennaro, a guy who's a preseason All-American, 71 catches last year. He has got to find a way to be a bigger part of this offense. They got to get him the football. 0 for 6 tonight. Make it 0 for 7 as Wickersham's pass batted down by Cam Butler, the defensive end.
And if Cam Butler doesn't bat that pass down, that is a completion for a first down. And there was room in front of the receiver. They gave him about an 8-yard cushion, which was, I was surprised by that because it's 3rd and short. But there was nobody in front of that receiver if he catches the football on that slant route.
Aaron Trussler is on to punt, his 4th of the night. Antonio Clary is back deep. Rolling punt, booted back toward the center of the field. Shorter kick, but it will take a bit of a Richmond bounce as it goes out of bounds. 42-yard punt and no return. So once again, the Virginia offense, which has been lights out so far, gets another opportunity. And it's funny, yesterday we're visiting with Des Ketchings, the offensive coordinator, and he said our offensive line, just plain and simple, we have to dominate up front this season if we're going to have success, and domination might be underselling it so far tonight.
I think it's total domination. Not just domination, but total domination at the point of attack.
Calandria to throw on first down, and it's broken up. D'Angelo Stocker came in and got a hand on it. As we approach the 2-minute timeout.
And I still think Richmond has to make a decision. They need to bring extra pass rushers. They need to put more people in the box. You've got to trust your outside defenders and hope that they can win those one-on-one battles, but you've got to get pressure on Calandria.
Xavier Brown off Calandria's hip. Quick throw. It's Malachi Fields. 2 defenders to finally take him down. He picks up 8 as we have hit the 2-minute timeout. New to college football this season, Virginia in complete control. They brought in Carter Glassmeyer, transfer from St. Francis, and they keep saying, well, he's not here to replace Tristan Wheeler, but he is here to replace Tristan Wheeler.
You ever heard of that statement called coach speak? That's exactly what that was. We know why he's here. And, you know they might not get the gaudy numbers that they got from Wheeler, but they need to have high production from that role.
Xavier Brown at the 25, shut down. No gain on 3rd down and short. TJ Baldwin, redshirt freshman defensive lineman, along with Wayne Galloway, bottled him up. So that forces the first Virginia punt of the night. Maybe not. No, they're going to go for it instead. Looks like they're going to line up for a little tush-push action here. And a timeout called by Richmond on the far side, making sure they're ready for this. And it's interesting that they would do that, especially with Anthony Calandria, who's 6 foot and 183 pounds, but they weren't going to line up with him. They instead had one of the other quarterbacks to line up. And so we'll see how they opt to go for it here. They change the plan, or if they go ahead and try another tush-push situation.
I don't understand why you go for it right here. You've got 1 minute and 22 seconds before the half. You've got a 20-point lead. You're on your own 40, or excuse me, what is it? You're on your own 36-yard line, 37-yard line. This could be a momentum swing if they get a stop here and are able to get a score before the half.
This is Grady Brosterhouse, and they call this the Grady Bunch as he pushes forward. And did he get it? Looks like he did. This is the nickname that Virginia gives that play, the Grady Bunch. And he got the job done.
And if you look at the Virginia offensive linemen, all of those guys are digging deep. They're uprooting those defenders. The low man is always going to win at the point of attack.
Calandria on 1st down, taking another deep shot. A diving grab! Holding on to it is Malachi Fields at the 20-yard line. Wow! Trey Tomlinson was there step for step, but Calandria put it where only Fields could get it, and that diving catch goes for 41 yards.
And you talk about concentration. He's able to separate from the defender at the last minute and get airborne. He timed that perfectly.
At the 22, for the end zone again, incomplete. Intended as Carter Glassmeyer broke it up for Tyler Neville, the transfer from Harvard. Take another look at this.
And Fields does a good job of fighting off the defender, and he jumps right at the perfect moment to squeeze the football and bring it close to his body. He knows he's going to hit the ground. He has to control the football as he hits the ground. He did a great job of putting the ball close to his body, being able to control it.
Jack Greasy, a touchdown tonight. A quick little bubble screen left, and the ball is picked out of the air. Did he make the catch? They say no from the far side. Incomplete as Donovan Hoylett caught it. He is saying off the chest of Chris Tyree, but the official comes right in and says incomplete. That is a bullet dodged for Virginia.
And he's not arguing, but from this, it looked like he caught, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it popped out as it looked like it slid just out of his arm that tried to get underneath it.
This is a better look right here.
I think the ball hit the ground shortly thereafter, and now they are going to go upstairs and take a look.
It's worth taking a look because
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. That play is under further review.
I want to know if his palm is under the football. The palm, it looked like he has his hand open under the football.
I thought the ball kind of squirted underneath his elbow as he was trying to squeeze it in.
And we know we've got a wet football. It's a slippery ball right now. The ball bounced off the receiver. You've got to squeeze that football when it gets to you.
So Russ Huseman, hoping for the best, is they will take a look. And we get another look. Blocked out right there by big Carson Stoklinski. 290 pounds can block out the sun for that matter. I think the ball hit the ground there. I think that's going to be very hard to overturn, even if it did get his arm underneath it.
Yes, I agree.
Take a look if this is a bit better angle.
It's a very tough
After
angle.
further review, the ruling on the field stands. Incomplete pass, third down.
I just don't think there was ever a clear view to overturn what was called on the field. It has to be a clear view, and you cannot see clearly that he had possession and he had his hand under the football the entire time. So I think the officials made the right decision on that.
Exactly as they called it. Stands means just that. There wasn't nearly enough for it as opposed to confirmed. So it's a 3rd and 10. Gracie to the left of Calandria this time. And our first penalty flag of the night. Riley Johnson, our referee.
False start, offense, number 71, 5-yard penalty, third down.
Ugana Anoa, the guilty party. Virginia has been getting a lot of different linemen, a lot of different players' looks here so far in the first half. And the depth is certainly the area where this team looks to have improved the most. 3rd and 15. The draw for Calandria. To the outside. And shouldered out. Jabril Hayes knocked him out of bounds, so a 4th down coming up with 30 seconds, 31 to be exact, left in the half.
And you saw what Virginia did on that play. They went 4 wides. They spread the defense out, giving Calandria an area to run. That's what you want to do when you run around that quarterback draw or any draw type of plays. You want to spread that defense out, get them spread across the field. That gives you the lanes that you need to get north and south and get up the field.
Why is the clock running? Because he was run out of bounds, and it's under 2 minutes. Unless they're calling a timeout at that point.
30-second timeout.
They rule him down in bounds?
I think they ruled that as a force out
Yeah.
by the defense.
Well, on comes Will Bettridge to attempt his 3rd field goal of the first half. He is 2 for 2 so far. (21 and 33 yards for Bettridge. This will be a little bit longer. 36 yards call it from the right hash. Ooh, missed badly. And that may have been affected by that wet grass so far that came down from the and Virginia won the toss. They elected to defer earlier. Thus, they get the football once again. Chris Carlin alongside former Florida State offensive lineman Forrest Connolly. Fair catch called for by Xavier Brown. And this has been all Virginia throughout the night. That was really the first misstep for Virginia on that field goal miss, but that field grounds just absolutely drained as well as they could. but there's still going to be some moisture out there after that down. And so Tony Elliott will send his offense back out on the field. A terrific first half for Anthony Calandria, 11 of 16, 257 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Kobe Pace gets a breather as Xavier Brown gets the call on the stretch play right. 13 more yards as that line continues to dominate. Carter Glassmeyer's been everywhere tonight for Richmond, but he's had to, not getting a lot of help.
And if you look at the lineman, they're getting up to the second level defenders once again, and he's able to get to the edge, get to the outside. A poor angle taken by the defender, Donovan Hoylett, on that play. You've got to take the correct angle.
No, we're good. We're good. We're good. Hey, easy. Hey, we're good. We're good.
He's happy with it, so they will snap. Brown again, dancing right. Churning and just moving forward. Everybody's going forward. A gain of 3. Glassmeyer again.
And even on plays where the Richmond defensive line is able to get pushed or be stout at the point of attack, the backs are falling forward from Virginia. That's one of the things that the coaching staff talked about with these backs, even the smaller backs. They're fall forward backs. They're doing a really good job of keeping their feet churning and staying north and south.
Brown, the guy that maybe has a little bit more of the home run speed, but has that power as well. So they're not afraid to run him right up the gut as they do there, and he picks up a few more to leave him with a 3rd and short.
And Richmond is there, but you've got to wrap up. You cannot allow them to bounce off would-be tacklers. That is what is happening with the Virginia running backs. They're getting met in the hole at times. Now, there are many times that they're not getting touched until they get to the second level, but there have been some times where they've gotten met in the hole, but they've been able to bounce off those defenders.
Eli Wood split to the bottom of your screen. Calandria looked in his direction first. Flushed out. Extending the play and connects. It's Cedarian Harrison with his first catch of the night. Donovan Hoylett able to run him out, but a 13-yard pickup and a first down.
And what I like about Calandria, he keeps his eyes down the field. A lot of times, younger quarterbacks will panic. He did not panic.
Brown again, taking defenders with him. Jeremiah Grant made the tackle. TJ Baldwin, 290 pounds, the redshirt freshman from Chesterfield, went for a bit of a ride for that gain of 4. We do have a penalty flag.
You know what's interesting about Brown? The coaching staff talked about wanting to get him the ball in space. I think you just get him the ball. The way he's been running effectively, just get him the football.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Saw that big sigh right there from Justin Wood, the defensive coordinator for Richmond. Frustration right there when his team has already given up 413 yards of total offense and 143 yards rushing tonight. This was a team that last season was a very good rush defense. They led the Colonial Athletic and 3rd in the country. Calandria taking off and sliding. And the Virginia train keeps on chugging along. 5 more yards and another first down.
And that was one of those routine plays the coaching staff talked about. Get as much as you can, get down, don't take extra contact.
There's Pace back in. Dancing, but danced right into a partner. Taken down by Glassmeyer. He got about 3. Quantrell Morris Walker right there too. Virginia in complete control right now. Pace takes the handoff out of the pistol. Fighting off the defender to the outside. And another first down as he's run out of bounds. Bryson Parker, all he could do was watch as he was getting the stiff arm, but we do have a flag. Let's see if it's coming back.
Malachi Fields blocked somebody out of bounds. I'm wondering if they're going to call holding on that.
Holding. Offense number 8. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Pick up.
That was just a tad bit aggressive by Malachi Fields on that side. You see him right there. He's got the defender. You don't have to do that. I get it. You want to help your guy. You're trying to do what you're supposed to do on the outside, blocking on the edge. But sometimes you just have to let a guy go if you can't get inside hands. You can't have those hands outside the shoulder pads.
He was engaged for a good 5 Mississippi there. Second and 7 for Calandria. Steps up. Gonna take off. He'll get the first down and more and slides at the 15-yard line.
And do you know how demoralizing that is for a defender, for the quarterback to continue to run these quarterback run plays and then slide right when you get an opportunity to put a hat on a hat? Calandria's doing a good job of taking what the defense gives him, not trying to get too much, but protecting himself.
Calandria doing it all right now. 38 yards on the ground. That's pace.
And something to start paying attention to a little bit as well. I'm starting to see some Richmond players with their hands on their hips. And you're starting to see attrition set in with these guys. You see all the defensive linemen got their hands on their hips.
They're just getting flat out exhausted.
But when you've got a 45-pound weight advantage across the board, you know, those big fellas are starting to lean on you a little bit. It starts to wear on you.
Plus, they've been out there for 2 consecutive series. On 2nd and 8, Calandria looking for more to the outside, picks up a couple more.
And I like the decision by Calandria on that play. Bryson Parker was coming up to make the hit. He did a good job of not cutting it up. I saw he wanted to cut it up in the seam, but he got to the outside, got as many yards as he could, and got out of bounds. And once again, that's a part of the maturation process for this young quarterback. He has to understand they want him to be healthy the entire season. You cannot take unnecessary contact from the defenders.
11th play of the drive coming up. Pace with Calandria on 3rd and 5 in the backfield. Calandria locking in left on the tight end Neville, who makes the catch, fighting to get the first down, and he gets it on 2nd effort. A pickup of 5 for the transfer from Harvard. And when we talked to Des Kitchings yesterday, he kind of smiled when we asked him about him. And he said, what is he? He's nasty. He's just nasty, and we need that edge, that nastiness to our game. Down and goal. Similar refrain for Virginia so far tonight. Calandria, the draw, up the middle, dives for the goal line, and he's in. Touchdown, Virginia. 7-yard touchdown run for Anthony Calandria with nearly 50 yards rushing and 275 yards passing so far tonight. Domination for the Cavaliers.
And the Cavaliers are just game planning right now. They go 4 wides. They spread the defense out once again. And you have the back go up trying to cover up the defender. But Calandria just decided he's going to run through Carter Glassmeyer. He's not going to follow Kobe Pace through the left side of the offensive line. He saw a seam, and he challenged number 10 across the board. And the number 10 for Virginia beat the number 10 for Richmond to score the touchdown.
The Bettridge point after makes it a 27-point Virginia lead. Formerly of Miami, head coach, and also Fran Brown up at Syracuse. A squib kick. It is Jerry Garcia bringing it out across the 30-yard line with a big hit from Jonas Sanker. 22-yard return, a little tap of the helmet to make sure everything's okay. So, partner, I know you didn't necessarily enjoy what happened last week, being a former Florida State offensive lineman, but I imagine you're looking forward to getting back to Monday night and the chance to redemption when you get Boston College.
Well, they've got to get back to what they do, but Boston College is a very dangerous ball club. They've got a quarterback that gave Florida State a lot of problems last year, and you know Bill O'Brien is a very unique offensive-minded coach, and he knows how to put his guys in position to be successful. For Florida State, they've got to get more vertical with the passing game. They've got athletes on the outside, so they need to get the ball down the field. You saw with Georgia Tech, they weren't afraid of Florida State going deep with the vertical game, so they packed the box, not allowing them to run the ball effectively. So I think you'll see more vertical passing from Florida State. I think you'll also see the defensive line that Florida State touted as one of the best in the country play better. I just don't think they were ready to play, but I think Coach Norvell will have those guys ready this Monday night.
2nd and 10 for Kyle Wickersham. To the outside, it's DeGennaro. Talking about Boston College. Kempton Shine makes the catch. Thomas Castellanos with Bill O'Brien. It never hurts to have a guy who has, yes, as you said, a unique perspective, but also an excellent reputation with quarterbacks.
Absolutely, and Castellanos, he is a true dual threat quarterback. And you have quarterbacks that can get first downs, but this guy can get touchdowns every time he runs the football. And I think that's what makes this game a very, unique situation, because you've got a Florida State team that's coming out and trying to prove something to the Boston College team with new coach and new energy.
Fantastic second effort by Zach Palmer-Smith to break tackles and pick up the first down. Jam Jackson finally got him to the ground, but a gain of 7, and that was all Palmer-Smith. That is their first 3rd down conversion of the night for the Richmond Spiders, who have been looking for answers. Wickersham on 1st down. Not much available downfield. Looking. Firing. DeGennaro on the sideline. A nice tiptoe move to pull it down as Sanker comes over and gets him to the ground, but the transfer from Maryland continuing to show his wares. Cam Butler was right in the face of Wickersham.
Well, a couple of things on that play that I liked. I like Wickersham keeping his feet, keeping his eyes down the field, but I like the fact that DeGennaro came back to the quarterback, back to the ball to help his quarterback. That's what you have to do when your quarterback is scrambling and in scramble mode. You've got to come back to your quarterback and give him somewhere to go with the football.
Matt Robert, right on his hands, couldn't hang on. 2nd and 10 coming up. Wickersham tonight, 9 out of 15, 85 yards. He's also rushed for 37 yards and the lone Spiders touchdown on the night. Wickersham on 2nd and 10. Trying to set up the screen, nothing there for Jamal Brown, and he just dumps it right at his feet as Antonio Clary came on the blitz.
Perfect defensive call on that play. They showed 4 down linemen. They only rushed 3. They dropped 1 back, and then they brought 2 linebackers. So they showed a zone blitz look, and the zone blitz that they showed put them right in position to make a play for an interception. So that was a good job by Wickersham just throwing the ball into the ground, because there was nowhere to go with the football.
3rd down and 10. Converted their first 3rd down just moments ago as we're under 6 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. After a 2-hour and 15-minute weather delay earlier. And now, a timeout taken.
Delay of game.
Excuse me.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Official from the far side came in. I thought they had gotten a timeout before the play clock expired. It's been a rough night for Russ Huseman and company, and he is really frustrated. Letting his offensive coordinator, Winston October, know it.
And he's frustrated not just because of now, but because of what's going on as they move forward with the season. These are mental errors that they cannot make if they want to continue what they've been able to do the last 2 seasons, and that is get to the playoffs.
Play clock at 2. Wickersham airing it out. DeGennaro had a step, but the ball just 2 steps ahead of him. Landon Ellis on the deep ball, showing off the speed, but couldn't quite catch up. So the Spiders will have to punt. That extra 5 yards would have taken away any chance they would have had at a potential field goal attempt. Brandon Peskin running it away, and Antonio Clary, the fair catch. 38-yard punt and no return for Trussler. Virginia in control. And certainly creature comforts.
Beautiful facility. Only thing that disappointed me, they had the picture of them when they upset Florida State in 1995, and it was everywhere. I saw it 2 or 3 times around the facility. It was a little disappointing, but in all seriousness, it is a beautiful, beautiful facility. If you ever get a chance to come and visit it, please do. They have done a wonderful job here with that facility.
At our meetings with Coach Elliott and his staff yesterday in there, absolutely gorgeous, and they have 3 players in uniforms dedicated to Devin Chandler, Lavelle Davis Jr., and Deshaun Perry, the 3 young men who lost their lives tragically a couple of years ago. Had them decked out in their uniforms just as they used to dress. There's Calandria firing and connecting. It's Dakota Timity with the reception. Twitty picks up 13.
And a good job by Virginia. You've got a lot of moving parts on that play. You've got people coming across short crossing routes underneath, and you've got a deep crossing route. A good job by Calandria allowing his offensive player to clear those defenders before he delivered the football.
Virginia continuing to move the football. Calandria for Greasy. Jack Greasy, a 57-yard touchdown reception earlier on a little wheel route out of the backfield. Picks up 1 there as Zach Chambers closed it down. Greasy, yes, he is related, the grandson of the Hall of Famer Bob Greasy of the Miami Dolphins, and his uncle Brian Greasy, now quarterback's coach for the San Francisco 49ers. His dad Scott played defensive back here at UVA. Quick throw. Once again, it's Twitty, ridden out of bounds.
And Twitty's an interesting tight end. The coaching staff talked about him. He came in as a receiver. They converted him to tight end. But to their surprise, he embraced the physicality of the tight end position quickly and has adapted to that move. And they like, his potential as the season progresses and his potential moving forward.
3rd and 4. Greasy lowering the shoulder will be close. Looks like he's just a little bit short. And this will be interesting to see if they go for the Grady bunch again. But I don't know about this part of the field if you want to do that with a 34-7 lead. Fans want him to go, and they are going to do it. Here comes Grady Rosterhouse. Noah Josie, 6th offensive lineman up front. And Rosterhouse comes up under center. Goes forward. This time, a little bit closer. Going to depend on the spot.
It didn't look like it got a lot of movement on that as well.
That time Richmond looked like they were a little bit more geared up for that right in the middle.
And Richmond seems to think that they stopped him. It's going to be interesting to see what the spot is.
And Richmond is saying that they did, but they're going to have to measure this to make sure.
Richmond's offense is huddled up. They're ready to come out on the field.
He even lost the ball in the middle of this as well. And that's almost certainly going to mean that he didn't get there. He fumbled it underneath. He never had control of that.
Yeah, you've got to get the football first before you try to surge forward.
That's a turnover on downs for certain. Unless the officials ever saw it, but they didn't get it anyway. Richmond ball. So Richmond gets great field position when we come back. Cal Wickersham led the FCS in completion percentage a season ago at 73%, but tonight just 9 of 17 for 86 yards. He does have the rushing touchdown for the only score tonight for Richmond, but the Spiders trying to find any way back into this game. Just had their defense force a turnover on downs because as Virginia went for that Grady bunch, as they call it, with Grady Broskerhouse, they end up fumbling the football and never being able to get close to get it. So here's Wickersham. It's Foster Powell this time, powering his way to a first down for Richmond as they're knocking on the door.
And speaking of Wickersham and his numbers tonight, I think a lot of that has to do with the inability of the ability of Virginia to get pressure with only 4 pass rushes and drop 7 back into coverage. There's nowhere for him to go with the football often when he drops back to pass the football.
Aziz Foster Powell again, redshirt freshman from Richmond, Virginia. Chico Bennett made the stop at 5 more. Officially, they're going to make it 4 as the clock winds under 2 minutes here in the third quarter. Chris Garland alongside former Florida State offensive lineman Forrest Connolly. Richmond been getting beat up pretty good tonight. Not necessarily expected, considering they're number 12 in the FCS coming in, and Virginia looking to continue to build their program, but Virginia has looked sharp all evening. Jameer Carter with the stop on Foster Powell, that time just shy of the first down, but 4 more yards. And Richmond with an opportunity here to get on the board for the second time tonight.
And I think this is definitely 4-down territory for Richmond.
3rd down and 2 coming up. And a penalty flag down.
False start. Offense, number 56 with a flinch. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That's the center, the captain, Tom Elia, the graduate student from Pittsburgh. 41 career games. That's how poorly things have gone tonight for Richmond when that guy makes a mistake.
An offensive lineman cannot do any movement that simulates shifting or they're getting ready to snap the football, or that will get called every time.
So a 3rd and 8. Wickersham fakes the toss. Not fooled. It's Carter again.
And too much penetration by the Virginia defenders at the point of attack. Once again, watch the defenders get up the field. They're right there. By the time the back gets the football, Wickersham looks up. Everybody is on top of him. He has nowhere to go with the football. All the defenders are surrounding him. All he sees is orange.
34-yard attempt here for Brandon Peskin. Last season, 14 out of 17. Spot is down, kick is up, and it is good. So it's now a 24-point lead. Early the case before. And the 12-team college football playoff adds nothing but intrigue. Virginia getting the football back. Xavier Brown bringing it back out. And what a night it's been for Anthony Calandria in his first start of the season after winning the job during training camp. He connects on the 3rd play of the game to Trell Harris, the transfer from Kent State. Then Jack Gracie streaking down the sideline. Calandria has shown all kinds of confidence, and Malachi Fields with a diving grab down the sideline. He has looked as sharp as a tack.
And the coaching staff have to be happy with the decision that they made to make him the starter. He's at 75% completion rate right now, doing a great job of spreading the ball around, getting the ball to his playmakers, and allowing them to be special.
Out of the backfield, swinging it to Pace, taken down for a loss. Trey Tomlinson on the outside of that loss of a yard. There haven't been many moments tonight for Virginia where they have looked anything but sharp. And you look on the other side, talking to the Virginia coaches this week, were nothing but remarkably complimentary, and you'd expect them to be, the Richmond staff, just how fundamentally sound Richmond plays, but tonight, at times, that has just not been the case.
Richmond just seemed to have been overwhelmed by this Virginia offense and their ability to spread the ball around.
Chris Tyree dropping the ball on that quick screen. The transfer from Notre Dame has had a quiet night, one of the few for Virginia on offense, and a 3rd and long coming up.
One of the things you want to do when you go into a football game is you want to kind of dictate what the offense or the defense is doing, and I think that's one of the things that Virginia has been able to do, is dictate what they've been able to do offensively and defensively, and not allow anything that Richmond is trying to do affect them.
Malachi Fields on that crossing route, but short of the first down. At the 33-yard line is Matthew Traynor, redshirt freshman from Marietta, Georgia. Made the stop, and Virginia will be forced to punt.
And I continue to go back to the defensive line only having to rush 4 and drop 7 in the coverage. When you can get pressure with 4 defensive linemen and drop 7 in the coverage, you're always going to have more than the offense is, and the offense has nowhere to go at the football. So you see a lot of those times, Wickersham, he's looking for somewhere to go at the football. There have been times when they've been able to block them a little bit, but for the most part, they've been able to get pressure on Wickersham.
Fantastic punt from Daniel Sparks, who have a penalty flag down. 54-yard punt and no return on the fair catch, but let's check the flag. Our referee tonight, Riley Johnson, leading this ACC crew.
During the kick, there was holding by number 1 on the return team. That penalty will be administered from the end of the kick. First down, timeout.
An uphill climb for Richmond. They'll take their first steps in moments, down 24. At the University of Virginia, and they have been rewarded as the Cavaliers have dominated Richmond throughout. The Spiders getting the football back, and Aziz Foster-Powell, not very much there for him. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Michael Diatta, Antioch, Texas, making the stop. Excuse me, Antioch, Tennessee. I'm gonna anger the Tennessee. Well, it has been a rough night for the Richmond offense. Aziz Foster-Powell still in there. Quick throw to the outside. It's connected to Landon Ellis. To say incomplete. Went to the ground. It's going to be 3rd down and 10.
And for Wickersham, he saw what no quarterback wants to see, the front of his offensive lineman's jersey. That lets him know that that lineman has gotten beaten. He's turned around to try and find a defender that just beat him, that's coming downhill on him.
1 for 10 tonight on 3rd down for Richmond. Really tells the story.
And if you see, Richmond has 4 down linemen, and they'll be able to, if they can get pressure with 4, that's what they've been able to do all evening, is get pressure with 4.
Wickersham on the crossing route to Ellis, who gets leveled.
And I thought Wickersham should have held on to the football a little bit longer and tried to get more vertical with that pass. He had time. They had them blocked up pretty good. He had the protection that he needed. I know he's been under pressure a lot this evening, but that time I thought he threw the ball prematurely. He needed to get vertical with that passing game and try to get the first down, as opposed to the crossing route that he tried to throw underneath.
Trey McDonald lowering the boom right there. On to punt, Aaron Trussler. End over end, Clary going to return it from midfield off 1 tackle and gets about 8 on the return off the 41-yard punt. Well, for more than 40 years, Jim Daves has been a part of the fabric of college football. His early years in the sports information business were spent at Notre Dame, continued at the University of Washington during the 90s, and his last 20 years been spent here on the grounds at Virginia. promoting student athletes and coaches and helping build and protect the Virginia brand as the lead contact for media with regards to the football program. From those of us, the ESPN family of networks, to Jim and his wife, Patty, thank you for your service and a job well done. Jim retiring. This is his last official game tonight as Greasy gets the call on the stretch play to the outside, trying to find the angle. And Tony Muskett is going to get his opportunity to play for the first time in 2024. He and Anthony Calandria had a full-on quarterback competition during camp. It was right down the middle in terms of getting equal opportunities with the first teamers, and Calandria ends up coming out on top. The graduate student from Springfield, Virginia, transfer from Monmouth, started 6 games last year, getting a chance here with the 2nd down and 6 coming up. It's Greasy again, getting submarined, but he does pick up a couple more. Peyton Seelman, a freshman linebacker, they're very high on at Richmond, made the stop.
Coach Elliott talked about having that conversation with Muskett and how difficult that was. He sat on that conversation for a couple of days because of how much the team appreciates him. But the one thing that he said that Muskett did was he accepted his role and he continued to display leadership around the program. And that is extremely important when you've got a guy, a senior guy that's coming in wanting to start but continuing to be a team guy, knowing that he wants to be the starter.
Incomplete on that 3rd down and 4 for Sackett-Wood. But listen, as has been proven for both of these teams over the last couple of years, you need a couple of good ones if you're going to be able to compete. And Muskett and Calandria both went at it last season. Muskett was the starter at the beginning of the year in the opener against Tennessee. He got hurt. Enter Calandria at that point. Muskett, when he was healthy, came back, but then again late in the year hurt his ankle and was done for the year after early November, as they're going to go for it on this 4th down and 4, and no man's land at the 36. Muskett still looking, firing, and it's intercepted. Picked out of the air in the secondary by Matthew Traynor, and the first turnover of the night for the Virginia Cavaliers as Traynor has the pick. So Richmond gets the football back after forcing their first turnover, still trying to find their way back in. Who's having quite a night. I guess it's whose deal of, if you will. I can't take credit for that. I can't even do it. I can't even do it. Our producer, Ken Neal, puts it in my brain, and it's going to get said.
I got your back, partner.
It's 1st down for Richmond. Palmer Smith getting the call. Stood up after a gain of just 1 on that initial push. A violent hit from Dorian Jones, 5th-year senior from Boynton Beach, a transfer from Cincinnati. $194 rushing yards for Virginia tonight, just 94 for Richmond. Kyle Wickersham gunning it right. It's Ellis again across the 40. Shy of the 1st down by a yard or 2 as DeAndre Walker came up and took him to the ground. Gain of 8.
And although they're not going to win this football game, Coach Huseman has to like the fight that his team continues to display.
Wickersham on the quarterback sneak, got that 1st down, and they will move the sticks. And it's just an opportunity here to continue to get the reps in game to prepare them for their FCS season. Coach Huseman freely admits this is a game against an FCS opponent. Financially, we have to play to help our athletic department.
But also, like you just said, you get good reps. You can't simulate game speed. And you can only do so much in practice against your own teammates because you want to preserve everyone. You don't want anyone to get hurt.
Nick DeGennaro breaking tackles. And he will pick up 6 on the play. Just got away from Malcolm Green, who had that sniffed out pretty well in the backfield.
And if you notice, Richmond is running a tempo offense right now. This is kind of one of those 2-minute deals. So this is an opportunity, once again, to work on your 2-minute offense, work on some of the things that you're going to have to do as the season progresses.
Palmer Smith the call. A few more, leaving with a 3rd and short. Ethan Minter, freshman safety, Virginia, very high on. Former high school quarterback. Making the stop. Palmer Smith on the second effort, breaking free. He's got a chance inside the 20 with 1 man to beat and taken down at the 5. A touchdown saved by Dre Walker.
And Zach Palmer Smith ran out of gas on that play.
43-yard pickup for the junior from Delran, New Jersey.
But you see how he keeps his feet moving? He continues to grind, and when he finds a seam, he's able to get to us. You see him running out of gas, but a good job by Zach Palmer Smith continuing to try to get as many yards as he can. And when he saw a clearance, he was able to get through the seam and put his team in a position to possibly put another score on the board. But that's again, what you want to see from this ball club from Richmond. Continue to fight, continue to try to get better.
Foster Powell dropped in the backfield.
And this is a good opportunity for Virginia's goal line defense as well to get some live action, red zone defense. Can they get the stop? You know this is going to be 4-down territory for Richmond. So let's see if the Virginia defense can step up to the plate and get a stop on goal to go.
And Smiley, a fine play right there. Aziz Foster Powell remains in the backfield after the 43-yard run moments ago. Palmer Smith. Wickersham in trouble. Dropped. Near the line of scrimmage, it's Jason Hammond from the interior taking him down along with Ben Smiley.
When you can get pressure with 4 and drop 7 in the coverage, the quarterback will not have anywhere to go at the football. This has been the recipe for success for Virginia all evening. They've been able to get pressure with those 4, whether it be a defensive lineman dropping back in the coverage and a linebacker coming on a delayed blitz, or just 4 linemen getting up the field, dropping 7 back in the coverage. Wickersham has nowhere to go with the football.
Play clock running down, and they're going to use a timeout right here for Richmond as they set up for a big 3rd down and goal as they continue to try to build a little momentum heading into the rest of their season, down 34-10. Have really been sharp on both sides of the ball tonight. In their opener in Charlottesville, Tony Elliott in his 3rd year got his first win a couple of years ago against this Richmond team at home. Zach Palmer Smith back in. Trickeration, and it's not there, so just run out of bounds. Well covered as Wanye Vini was looking for somebody in the end zone, but they were all covered up as Chico Bennett was trying to chase him down.
And a good job by not trying to force it in there. You still want to be in a position to try and get a field goal attempt. So a good job holding on to the football. He had nowhere to go with it.
8-yard loss on the play. Brandon Peskin, first team All-Patriot League transfer from Fordham, on to attempt 34-yard field goal from the right hash. The snap, kick on its way, and he got it. So that makes it a 3-score game with 4:46 remaining. Well, for the Cavaliers, they have a difficult charge ahead of them this season. They have the 4th most difficult schedule in the ACC as they go to Wake Forest next week. Their overall schedule ranked 32nd in the country. Trip to Coastal Carolina, not going to be easy by any stretch. And then, of course, matchups with Clemson and Notre Dame later in the year, and Virginia Tech, who lost a tough one today on the road at Vanderbilt in overtime. But that is not an easy slate at all for Tony Elliott and the Hoos. What a night it's been for Anthony Calandria. His night is over. 17 out of 23, 297. Nearly had his 3rd career 300-yard game, and the 49 yards rushing. He really was everything they were hoping he would be when Tony Elliott decided to roll with Calandria out of that quarterback competition with Tony Muskett here in training camp. He got the job officially a week ago, and tonight he has taken it and run with it for sure.
Well, what stands out is he got the ball to 9 different receivers. He spread the ball around. And you have to be extremely happy about that if you're on the offensive coaching staff for Virginia. He didn't have one particular guy that he just felt like is his favorite guy. So when teams game plan for Virginia and game plan for Calandria, they can't say, okay, this is his favorite guy. This is who we've got to stop right here. You go into games now looking at Virginia's offense like, okay, they spread the ball around. There's not just one guy that we can concentrate in game plan. So you have to be extremely happy if you're on the offensive coaching staff.
Last year, you knew it was going to Malik Washington. This year, you've got Chris Tyree, you've got Malachi Fields, his first career 100-yard game tonight. Trell Harris as well at receiver, and they're getting deeper with some of their younger receivers as well. Lyric Coleman, Cameron Courtney, among those. On the carry is Xavier Brown. He has gotten plenty of action tonight in the backfield for Virginia. Picks up a couple of more. Peyton Seelman came up and made the stop. And 4.5 left. Virginia, as effective as they have been running the football tonight, 197 yards rushing this evening. Round the call again, dancing at the line of scrimmage, and not a whole lot there, bottled up after a gain of about a yard or so. Camden Bird came up and took him down. But for the Cavaliers, this season is just about improvement. They were picked near the bottom of the 17-team now ACC, and Tony Elliott reminded them of that at the beginning of training camp, but it hasn't been a constant focal point because he wants to keep them in the moment on what they need to be focusing on. And like any coach, you hear it, it's about us as Brown gets to the corner, and there is a flag down. I think we're going to have a hold bringing this one back, but to no end, to finish the point, I should say.
Holding, offense number 74, 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
When you have as much as you do as Ethan Sipe, the guilty party on the hold, in terms of these older players on this team, you want to see that progress this year, and the best way to do that is stick to those old adages.
Well, some of the things that the challenge for Virginia, any team in the ACC, is everybody's good. You had 11 teams get bowl bids last year. That's the most of any conference. So, you know, the wealth has kind of been spread around this conference. We saw Clemson lose today, but I know they'll be back. Coach Sweeney will have his team ready to play next week. You know, and when you see what happened with Virginia Tech, I think they'll be back as well. We had a lot of teams that you expected to win. Virginia Tech, Florida State, not win. I think those teams will rebound. Georgia Tech did a good job, you know, against what I call a possible setup game, playing against a crosstown rival in Georgia State today. It looks like they're going to win that football game. But the ACC has a lot of good football teams, so it's tough sledding in this conference.
Daniel Sparks on the punt for Virginia. Nick DeGennaro back deep. Another fair catch called for. Another pretty good punt by Sparks. Monday night, We've got Boston College and Florida State close out Labor Day weekend, and we've got a command center presentation of the BC-Florida State game with 4 different camera angles and real-time player and team stats. Every game also available on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. Avert your eyes, my friend. The former Florida State offensive lineman to my right had a rough week last week as his Seminoles went across the pond and fell against Georgia Tech.
It hurts. It hurts so bad. You know, you'd rather lose in a blowout as opposed to a last-second kick.
I mean, it had to be painful. Pick up 1 for Richmond.
But when you look at it, it's a 12-team playoff.
I can hear the pain in your voice.
You're not out of it, but you got to get on the run now.
Well, that's the best thing about it. It's not even about when you lose anymore. It's you can afford a loss or 2 and still very much be in it.
Absolutely. Win your conference, you're going to the playoffs.
There's Wickersham on 2nd down and 9 to the near side, connecting. It's DeGennaro with the catch, ripping it away from Kendron Smith. And it's very close to a first down. Looks like they got it on that gain of 9.
I think there's a lot of parity in college football this season, and I think you're going to see a lot of teams that are usual powerhouses that usually go undefeated or have 1 loss lose multiple games this year. Everybody's playing everybody.
Zeez Foster-Powell on the carry and picks up 2 as the clock winds down to the 2-minute timeout. Virginia in control in the season opener against their cross-state rival Richmond. They've taken control tonight. Hosting games, I think that's great too. The idea that you get a college football playoff game potentially on your campus, that's awesome.
Well, for those 8 teams, everybody's low at Christmas right now, so there is a chance. And you love that, you know, because there are a lot of teams prior to the 12-team playoff that when they lost 1 game, that was it. They knew that was it. There are teams that, you know, were deserving of an opportunity. Not just Florida State last year, but I thought UCF a couple of years ago was deserving of an opportunity to play in the playoffs. So when you look at some of these teams, I love the idea of moving it from 4 to 12 because more teams will now have the opportunity to compete for a national championship.
Zeez Foster-Powell picking up the first down, sidestepping tacklers in the backfield. Ethan Minter finally got him to the ground, but Richmond will be able to continue running their offense a little bit, although they don't appear to be in any hurry with the clock winding down to 40 seconds. Listen, that's the best part of it, is that there is more interest and more intrigue throughout the course of the year, and that's what it's designed for.
And I think also you'll see more guys playing at the end of the season. You know, when you looked outside of those 4 teams that played in the playoffs, guys were sitting out. You know, because of injury, you know, not wanting to get hurt and feeling like it was meaningless, although I don't think any of those games are meaningless, but I get it, I understand. But I like this now because guys are going to continue to play and go into the playoffs. And like you said, I think what's going to be lovely about it is those home playoff games, those teams that get to host a playoff game.
Well, here in Charlottesville, a good 2024 debut for Tony Elliott and company. Exactly how they would have drawn it up, minus a 2-hour and 15-minute weather delay, but they come out and were just as sharp.
Don't forget to subscribe.